Well, we mentioned earlier, and if you read First Light, you know it's true as well, that this month we are focusing on renewal. When you look in the dictionary, that tells you, of course, resuming an activity or state after an interruption, replacing, repairing something that is worn out, run down, or broken, giving life a new vigor, rejuvenating, or restoring something. And I'm going to bet that every person in this room knows what it feels like to need renewal, revival, and rejuvenation at one time or another. Those times when we feel tired and used up, run down, or broken. And yet nature and the cycle of the seasons of life around us, the life of these flowers and blooms, demonstrate that there are ways to shift our situation, to reboot, to start all over with hope and energy and enthusiasm. And now I would like to share with you the quickest, cheapest, and often one of the most effective ways to renew yourself. Follow along. A simple deep breath. Let's do it again. Adding that little, that's helpful too. That method requires very limited time and minimal energy, no training or money, and it's just breathing. But if we consciously put ourselves into the breath, that very simple activity covers a lot of the territory for what is required to feel renewed. First, you move from consciousness of the things that are whirling around in your mind to being aware of your body, to sinking into an awareness in a different part of yourself. Two, it takes you out of where you were physically, mentally, and puts you in a place where you are sitting and focusing, and it moves you to a different level of reality. Then there's the renewal, that just air in our lungs and moving into our blood, and the wonderful gift of that and how it makes us feel better very quickly. And then, lastly, when we come out of our breath, we're in a different place than we were when we started breathing. And we have the energy, perhaps the focus, and maybe the time to shift our thinking and to feel like we've got it and we can move on. We feel hopeful. The second simplest method is to take a nap. Who doesn't love a nap? You know, it's funny to me watching nieces and nephews and those kind of things. And those of you who have been parents, you watch your children when they're little and you say, it's time for a nap, and they go, no, I won't go to sleep, no. And at the age I'm at, if somebody says to me it's time to take a nap, holy cow, watch out, I'm on my way to the bed. How funny that changes. Our need for renewal is often related to the level of stress that we have. If we're feeling high stress, we then feel like we're burned out, tired. There isn't a place in ourselves where we can gather our energy again, put it in a tiny ball or a big ball or some kind of thing and move ourselves forward with it. And so I know that stress in some doses can be helpful to help us focus or to spur us on to get something done. For people who are pressure prompted, a little pressure, a little stress causes you to kick into gear and you get something done. But chronic stress negatively impacts us in body, mind, and spirit. And when we face a fear or threat, our body prepares, as I know you've heard, for a fight or flight. And usually these are in the face of an immediate situation, say, a lion is looking at you hungrily, and there's no fence between you and the lion. Now, in the normal cycle of stress, those stress hormones, cortisol, are released. And when the situation ends, it's resolved quickly, you relax. The stress hormones go into your system, but they work their way out of your body, and we return to a state of normalcy. What happens when stress is chronic or continued is that we're always, to some level or other, under the influence of cortisol. And those stress hormones continually impact our thinking and our attitude and our body's ability to function effectively. I know, I do it too. It's so easy to get caught up in our lives. There's work, perhaps, and family, and obligations, and things we've taken on, and volunteering, and politics, and world events. There are threats of violence, and economics isn't so hot, and on and on and on. It gets to the point sometimes we don't feel like we can unplug and be calm and at ease. We find it harder and harder to quiet those little imps in our mind that keep us thinking. It's then hard for us to release the tension in our bodies. Pay attention to your body right now. How many of you have your shoulders up around your ears? Most of you look pretty good. I'm kind of pleased. But if that's where your shoulders are, consciously let them drop. And when we are that engaged, it is hard for us to regain a perspective and to reconnect with our resilience and our joy and our hope. Now, sometimes, because of that discomfort or the pressure or the challenge of our situation, we decide, well, we don't have much time, and we don't have much space, and we don't have this, so we'll do something to just take care of it for right now. Right now. So we may withdraw or isolate, and we turn to TV or gaming or something that keeps us busy and occupied and sort of takes our mind off something. Maybe we become angry and short-tempered. Or we follow a time-honored path of self-medicating. Sometimes that's alcohol and drugs or other approaches, anything that we use to excess as a way to distract ourselves. And we move perhaps too into worry and depression. It's also common when we are in that space to think that we are perhaps the only person who has ever experienced this level of stress and its outcomes. And because we think everybody else is doing fine, we delude ourselves into thinking that we have to hide that place, that we have to act as if we're fine when we're not. And little do we know that most of the people around us are also busy trying to keep up that wall of pretense, so you won't see behind and see how broken and tired and burned out they feel. And yet, when we share things like we do with our joys and sorrows, when we trust someone enough to open our heart and say, you know, it's not as great as it looks from the outside. I really need some help. It is an amazing gift to ask for help. It is an amazing gift to breathe and give yourself a moment. It is a great gift to find ways to deal with the burden of tiredness without hurting yourself. Dr. Abigail Brenner has 5 tips, there's my thumb, for how we can move into renewal. And they're not going to surprise you. They are the wisdom that we hear over and over from experts, from our friends, from your grandma. It's the same stuff, but it's the same stuff because it works. And the first is about streamlining your life. The greatest gift we have, perhaps, is our ability to choose one thought over another. So think about your thoughts, and if they're not helping you, let them go. Now, I am not necessarily a model of this because I was thinking about this the other day, and I realized that I have let a person in my life 50 years ago live rent-free in my head for 50 years. and he's not helping. He does not pay rent. So sometimes we have to first declutter our physical space before we can get to our mind space. We have to learn to do with less. Then we need to clear out that mental and emotional clutter, challenge our limiting beliefs, think about reframing our attitude, and reprioritize to make different choices. Number 2, she tells us, is to begin something new. Use your creativity. Take better care of yourself. Do something for someone else. If you have lived for 80 years and had oatmeal porridge every morning for breakfast, have Wheaties. You can buy them in small boxes so you don't have to make a real commitment, but try something else. And one of the things she says is beginning something new is number 3, start a new practice, a new discipline, an approach that you take with mindfulness, paying attention. It could be a spiritual pursuit, it could be an exercise program, it could be changing the foods that you choose to eat, but most important, it should include the practice of gratitude and being thankful. Life is in constant flux. Finding a routine for ourselves that we can rely on because we've invented it and put it into our lives is an amazing way to capture back and feel like you've got some control when the world feels a bit out of control. Number 4, I know will not shock you or surprise you. She says, get yourself outside. Be in nature. Make a connection. Be in the moment. Go for a nature walk. Try forest bathing. Look it up, it's great. Plant a garden. Some people who are really into gardening tell me the most amazing thing, the thing that helps them the most when they are feeling stressed is to just get dirt on their hands. And then they go, oh, this is real. And it's calming. And number 5 is to place yourself in new situations. Find the newness within yourself. Go someplace you've never been, and you don't have to travel to far-reaching places to do that. I'm going to betcha that even if you've lived in Toronto all your life, you've not gone to all the museums and all the parks and all the beaches, whatever turns you on, all the restaurants. You haven't probably even hit all of the Korean restaurants, let alone the whole population of food that you have access to. So try something new. And certainly you can travel and vacation, take a personal retreat, attend a family reunion. Again, it doesn't have to be exotic or far from home. It just has to be not your usual stuff. This is called getting out of your comfort zone, challenging yourself. As humans, we crave growth and learning. We crave meaning and purpose. And sometimes, though, we can still get stuck in the too familiar place or routine or pattern of our lives, the way we always think. And then we know that's a clue. It's time for us to shift ourselves onto a new path of renewal and rejuvenation. Reconnect with ourselves and with life in all of its beautiful facets. In that moment, when you know you need to change, imagine the flowers, their diversity, their beauty, and know that they call for us to try something new. And remember, ask for help and breathe. Very important to breathe.